to see him in his motorcade as they exit the church. The program is not started yet. Of course, like you mentioned, we'll be having that feed up. But once he makes his remarks, we can expect for him to make a pretty swift departure. So again, this is right outside of Reedy AME. A lot of people just are hoping for the opportunity to talk to him. And so as soon as we see that, we'll definitely let you know, and we'll have further coverage at 9 o'clock tonight, 9 and 10 o'clock tonight from Galveston. Again, a lot of people, thousands of people out here, a plethora of events throughout the day leading up to this event. And then there's going to be some events throughout the weekend in the greater Houston area as well. Rashi?
All right, Sherman, looking forward to it. Thank you so much. And we want to take you to another event. Galveston's considered the birthplace of Juneteenth, and Ashton Villa is the center of it all. A commemoration took place earlier today. Let's listen in.
Happy Juneteenth. My name is Al Edwards II. For those of you who haven't met me or seen me before, this is our great day of the year. It's a difficult thing to explain. I try to every year in some way that have it make sense, but I suppose if you were to have your dad's entire career and life's work from when you were too small to even understand it actually come to fruition in a way that he only saw it happening. And then a year after he goes on to glory, that thing happens, and the entire country observes what he brought from just the cockles of his cognition and imagination, then this day would feel to you like it feels to us. So I say, I appreciate so greatly to see you all here, and I know you all aren't here for us. You're here for your conscientious recognition of this national holiday, and if you're a Galvestonian especially, you know that it was just our holiday. It was just our state holiday, born out of Galveston, right? And even before then, when my dad's mother and father and their mother and father were celebrating it just in backyards and park barbecues, they were recognizing its extreme importance when the rest of the country had no idea it had even taken place. It didn't exist in any of the textbooks I studied in junior high school. It didn't exist in any of the texts or publishing elements of any of our educations. And Dad used to say when I was, still at that grade school age, just because it's written and printed in this book does not mean it's true. And that was a tremendous paradigm shift for a child who's being taught by adults who we're taught to look up to, respect, appreciate, and recognize as our educators. So just as we see things we expect to last forever coming under assault, the mores and elements of our country being challenged, right? Federal monuments and organizations being shaken at their foundation. Let's just keep in mind that it can be chiseled in granite, and that granite can be uprooted.
All right, well, let's take a look at our weather. We are your Gulf Coast Weather Authority. We have meteorologist Ramisha Shea to tell us what we can expect. I know we're not out of the woods yet when it comes to the rain.
Yeah, we actually have some downpours, some storms kind of getting stronger on us out there. Nothing severe, but if you're up around Shenandoah and the Woodlands area, Tomball, Stagecoach, Magnolia, even into parts of Montgomery, starting to see the rain building, the storm clouds building. You can see it right here. There we go. Heavy rain, about 20 lightning strikes moving into the Woodlands, Tomball, Stagecoach, Magnolia, and the west side of Conroe. Even Cypress starting to get in on some of that rain. So nothing for us right now. But if you are going to be heading up towards that way, or if you are already there, you certainly need to watch out for some of that heavy rain. Maybe a little bit of small hail, likely a ½ inch or less, and maybe some 30 to 40 mile per hour wind, but nothing severe. So that's good news. Notice a little bit of light rain, a tiny shower in between the Heights and the downtown area inside of the loop for Houston, but otherwise, as we look farther down towards the coast, if you're hanging out in League City, Seabrook, Texas City, Galveston, or we do have a lot of Juneteenth events going on, it is still rain free. So super hot, but dry. I heard Sherman mention someone had heat exhaustion out there at some of the Juneteenth festivities. So please be careful. Make sure you're trying to find the shaded spots. Don't overdo it. Take breaks. Make sure to drink the water, use the sunscreen. Just do what you can to stay safe out there. That heat is oppressive. Still 90 degrees in Houston right now. How about 101 in West Texas in El Paso? So we got a few downpours. Best shot for rain across the state is going to be across southern parts of Texas. And that's due to the fact that we've got some tropical moisture streaming northward from what was a major hurricane, Hurricane Eric, this morning. It did make landfall just east of Acapulco, Mexico, and it was a major Category 3 hurricane upon landfall this morning with 125 mile per hour wind. So at this point, it's quickly weakening, but it's still going to bring the risk for several inches of rain. That means flash flooding, mudslides as it moves over southern Mexico. But you can clearly see the system kind of falling apart on our tropical satellite. Very impressive looking structure this morning, and now it is down to a tropical depression. So really just an hour ago it was still a tropical storm, now tropical depression, and in about 12 hours it's not going to be anything. So it is quickly weakening. That is good news, but some of that tropical moisture is still going to get thrown into northern parts of Mexico, southern parts of Texas for Friday. So it's going to get close to us, but I think most of it stays out of our area. So we are actually keeping our rain chances on the low side. 30% for tomorrow afternoon, 10% for your Friday night if you're heading out to a concert, maybe Morgan Wallen out at NRG, performing again Saturday night as well. 20% rain chance during the day on Saturday, and rain chances for the second half of the weekend up to around 30%. So limited rain for this weekend. And of course, this is going to be the first weekend of the summer season. Summer officially starts at 9:42 p.m. tomorrow. So we've been kind of in a drier pattern the last few days. Before that, super soggy. We had over a foot of rain for parts of the area, but now that typical summertime pattern, that heat dome, going to try to set in for the next few days, at least through the weekend. So that will keep most of that rain away, but the temperatures are soaring, 94 to 95 degrees. So just make sure you're careful out there in that heat. Spotty rain Friday and Sunday, isolated for Saturday. But overall, it is going to be a toasty weekend. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to be looking for a pool, some shade. I don't know. It's going to be hot out there. But
or just stay indoors, right?
Yeah, that's the best thing to do.
Yes.
I should have said that earlier. Find the shade, but if you can, if you're indoors, AC is 10 times better than hot weather in the shade. Yeah,
definitely is. All right, Ramisha. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
This is a crazy story. They say that a real estate mogul forged signatures to steal their inherited home. The house was then sold to someone else without their knowledge and demolished without any warning. Well, Fox 26's Jillian Hartman explains how all this started and why the family is demanding justice.
Tonight, Vanessa Volbakken, Charles and Ronald Kelly are speaking out. In 2017, they inherited their late father's home with other relatives. They shared these videos of growing up in the home their dad proudly owned since the 60s. In 2019, when they decided to put the house up for sale, the family attorney said what happened next was unimaginable.
They were approached by local fraudster and real estate mogul Jerry Gurley. They received a poor offer from him, and they declined. Unfazed, Jerry Gurley, with the help of his notary, forged all 6 signatures of the family members onto the deed, filed it into the property records, and with the help of the corrupt and now defunct Patriot Title Company, sold it to a bona fide third-party purchaser who bulldozed their home down.
This is what the house looked like. The home is gone, with it generations of family history, including irreplaceable family heirlooms and photos. Vanessa says it was a devastating blow.
We were flabbergasted. We were absolutely flabbergasted because, first of all, I was in ICU when they forged my signature, having open heart surgery, so there was no way I was there.
Court documents show a judgment finding Gurley civilly liable in this case and ordered to pay the family $200,000, but they say they have not seen a penny. That's why they're now asking Houston police to pursue criminal charges.
It's just unbelievable that nobody can find him and make him fess up to what he's done, first of all, and then pay restitution for it. No, we just want justice done, and we don't want him to be able to be left in a position to do this to other families.
Is that why you're speaking out?
Yes, absolutely. We want him to hurt bad enough to not do this again.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Houston Live and Local. You know, the CONCACAF Gold Cup is in Houston, and Trinidad and Tobago are playing Haiti right now inside Shell Energy Stadium. The score is 0-0. And did you know that you can find authentic food from Trinidad here in the greater Houston area? Anthony Antoine is joining me tonight with a very special guest and an amazing spread. Anthony,
Yes.
take it away.
Yeah, so you guys know I'm from Trinidad, and first time as soon as I moved here to Houston, I was dying to find some authentic Trini food, and that's when I found Sorrel and Davika. How you doing?
Very good. Thank you guys for having us.
All right, so I'm excited, borderline nervous, because I get to introduce our culture to everyone at home.
Yes.
And for good reason. We got Trinidad and Tobago taking on Haiti. So kind of tell us about the spread, about what we got here on the table.
So today we brought some curry chicken, and we have some roti that go with that. We have the dal puri with the one with the split peas. We also have the bus up shot paratha. We also have a chicken pilau with coleslaw. You can't forget the coleslaw.
You have to have a coleslaw with pilau, yes.
We have some chana and aloo that goes with that, or chana and potato. And we have some curry mango. We also brought a taste of our mobby and our sorrel, because that's the name of our establishment. We also even brought some freshly made drops, coconut drops, and currant rolls.
Currant roll?
Yes.
That's like a treat. When you're a kid in Trinidad growing up, like a currant roll is like it.
But the way you guys say it with the accent is really, for someone who is not from Trinidad, it's very nice. I love it.
And also, too, another one of it, we have doubles.
Of course, how can I forget
doubles?
It's our street food.
That is our street food, yes.
This is what we have,
so let's
doubles.
try it, yes.
Okay, I've never tried this.
So, and you know, there is definitely, culturally, there's a huge Indian presence as well in Trinidad, from our history.
Yes.
So some of the food crosses over, Rashi. So we talked about this and bonded over this before.
It's so crazy because, like she says, roti, paranta, those are all Indian words. And I know that your background is, descendants from India as well. And it's just so great to see, like, we don't traditionally in Indian food have a coleslaw on the side, but you have like it's a different mixture of it, and it's great spices and everything.
Yeah. And where are you guys located?
We're at 829 South Mason Road, Katy.
Okay.
Yes.
Make sure. So I did a video a long time ago, a couple of months ago. You remember a video I'm talking about?
Yes, on TikTok.
So I made a random video, not thinking anything of it, and then it kind of got some traction.
It's a lot of traction.
It's an Anthony Antoine video.
No.
Exactly.
No. So you got a lot of people that came and visited.
Tons of people.
Wow.
Really?
We had I would say between 500 and 800 new people coming to the store.
Anthony.
I didn't know. I just was looking for some food, and I found it. I found
you had
it.
6,000 people liking the video, right? and not only Trinidadians came, other islands, other cultures. We had a Nigerian woman come in and say, "Can I have the food that Anthony Antoine had?"
Stop.
But on that day, we did not serve the barbecue.
You know what you need to do is name a dish after him.
The barbecue chicken, definitely. Our Sunday special is going to be named after him.
Hey,
Anthony,
come now, man.
Hey. With Anthony Antoine.
On his video that he made, he danced when he ate the food.
It was good. You need a piece of home, a little taste of home. When you find it, you have to taste.
Oh my
So listen, taste of home is right here. This is called doubles, and it's chana, curry chana.
Yes, with your bara.
And your
inside
bara.
it has sauces. So we usually put cucumber, mango, tamarind, and of course pepper sauce.
Pepper sauce. I just always say slight pepper. A slight pepper is good, and you eat with your hands.
Puri?
It's not like it's a bara. We call it a bara in Trinidad.
Okay. So you eat it like
the way Anton's eating it. But
this is how I traditionally eat it too. Yeah.
So good. Yep.
This is like
it's all street food.
Well, this is like chole bhature.
Yeah, exactly. It's chole, yes.
What is this called again?
We call it chana.
Oh, okay. Chole bhature is this is the same.
See?
Yes.
Oh, we're like cousins.
This is just like that. Oh my God, this is great.
I love that. How long you guys been in business? And just talk about the response.
So we
from
had
people.
a very small store for 5.5 years, and then I'm like, you know what? We need to get a lot of things going. Let's go a little bit bigger. And so we opened this October of last year, and we, besides being a restaurant, we also have it as an event space.
Oh.
So we have parties, like we're coming up on the 6th of July for Houston Carnival. We have a breakfast party there. We always host a parang there. Different types of occasion. People rent out the space to also do events. So you kind of bring the Caribbean community together. That's my thought was, have a mecca where they all come together, enjoy the food, and also enjoy, live DJs. We had a live band last weekend. Yeah,
I gotta get out the house because I'm like, thank you. I gotta get out the house because all these good events are happening and I'm just sleeping. I usually step by on Sundays. Sundays are kind of like my days where I kind of come in and get some food. So it's been good. And we call it like a Sunday lunch.
Yes.
So that's kind of like on a Sunday, your family usually has this big dinner, kalaloo and Spanish rice and lentils, macaroni pie, a potato salad. But we got so much here, I can't even get to all of it. But the pilau, super good. Love the pilau. And then the roti, that's also next to doubles. I would say roti is kind of like the next most popular item.
Yes.
Because roti is pan, put on a pan, right? Versus this is fried.
Yes.
Right? So that's what.
A tawa, is it called?
Well, yeah, traditionally you would use a tawa, but we use a griddle.
Okay.
Yeah, but basically a flat iron surface.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can make rotis. Did you know that?
I did not.
Oh
know
yeah,
that.
I kind of yes.
Make chapati, what do you make?
Paratha, aloo paratha. I can make that and knead the dough. I did it with my grandmother. Yeah, just some
Get
skills.
to it. Oh, I'm proud of her. So Rashi always says like, "Oh, I'm intimidated." No, she can cook. She just
I
like
appreciate
downplays
that.
it, you know.
Yes, yeah. But,
before we go really quickly, I want to talk about the drinks.
Yes.
We got 2 drinks that are kind of like both of them. One is sorrel, the other one is morbi.
Yes.
Kind of what's in sorrel, like for people at home.
So in
Houston,
in Texas here, they referred our Latino population referred to it as a jamaica.
Jamaica.
Also, it's dry hibiscus. And basically, you get the hibiscus together, but the Trini part of it is you put in all the different spices.
Yep.
Like clove and nutmeg and cinnamon sticks, all these things, and you basically boil everything together, and then you let it seep overnight, and then the next day you go through that whole process like grandma used to do it. Or nanny used to do it, whatever you want to say. You add sugar, and then it's like it's a drink of love.
It's always popular around Christmas time too.
Very.
So like it's like parang playing in the background, the music, and then you're drinking sorrel, and your family cooking is like a whole little.
Do you add any spike it at all, or can you?
It's optional.
A rum.
Okay.
It's optional.
So
you can spike basically anything.
Oh yeah. Good. Yeah.
So good. You guys, I don't know what else to say. And then you got sweets over there. So please go ahead and check them out. Their location again?
829 South Mason Road, Suite 224, Katy, Texas.
And are you guys on social media?
Yes, we are on Facebook and Instagram. I post a menu because our menu changes because there's so much to offer.
Yeah.
But we always have our curry dishes, and we always have roti, and
look
out for all events.
Look out for the events. I love it.
All right, go Trinidad.
Go Trinidad.
All right, we're gonna
dig
dig into
yourself.
this food. We'll be right back.
Cool.
All right, well, HPD does confirm that they are in the area of Fulton and Burnett. assisting in a search for an escaped subject just north of Houston. Now, we do know that they may have come from Metro Police Department. We do know the Petro Public Information Officer is gathering information right now, but this seems to be something that they are currently working on. We do have a crew on scene, and you can see some of that video there where, again, HPD confirming they're in the area of Fulton and Burnett, assisting in a search for an escaped suspect just north of Houston. Might have come from Metro Police Department. And again, Metro PIO is currently gathering some of that information. So it looks like it is a pretty active scene, and hopefully we'll be getting some more information pretty soon in terms of what exactly is happening, whether or not they have captured that suspect. But we do see that public information officer that we usually get reports from right in the middle of your screen there. So hopefully he will be speaking with the media pretty soon. But again, we have our crew right there on this scene where HPD did confirm they're assisting in a search for an escaped suspect just north of Houston. And when there is more new information that is being released, we will be sure to bring it to you. Well, only on Fox, a 77-year-old grandmother is on the verge of being evicted from her Third Ward home after her son forged the deed to her house sold when it took his own life. Fox 26's Randy Wallace joining us from the elderly woman's house. Randy.
Yeah, Rashi, now August the 13th of last year was a day that would forever change Barbara Arnold's life. Now, her 53-year-old son, Jeremiah, or Jerry as he's called, would make a disturbing confession.
He said, if I stop, he said, I'm going to kill myself. And I asked him not to do that, and then he hung up the phone.
Jeremiah Arnold was being chased by the police after he robbed a bank. Before taking his own life, he urged his mother to check the deed on her house. Barbara Arnold would later learn her own son forged her name on the deed and sold her house to investors.
She never signed anything, and she couldn't understand how her house wasn't her house. They see, everybody involved sees that it's not her signature, but we haven't been able to get to the point of settlement, and now our attorney feels like she's going to have to go to court.
It sounds like you're dealing with people that they don't care that you own this house outright and you've owned it for many years. Their attitude is, we got a deed.
Yes.
It's our house now, so tough for you. Right?
That's the way that and I said, Mister, I don't know who you are. I've never seen you. I've never heard from you. And then I said, and I did not sign any papers. I did not sell my house.
Now, Barbara Arnold has already spent $17,000 for legal fees, and she's out of money. She's on Social Security, and she's basically hoping that she can get people to help her pay to continue the legal battle, which is going to cost several thousands of dollars. If nothing changes, she could be out of this house, evicted by next month. Reporting live from the Southeast Side, Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
All right, Randy, thank you for that report. Now we're going to go to Iran and Israel, where tensions continue to rise. We do understand that missile attacks between the two countries have continued today. In fact, the latest of these hit actually a hospital in southern Israel. The medical facility says the missile caused, quote, extensive damage. At least 40 people were wounded in the strikes. And recently, Iran rejected U.S. calls for surrender. The country's supreme leader vowing, quote, irreparable damage should America get involved. Meantime, Israel is continuing with strikes aimed at Iranian missile launchers and urging the U.S. to drop bunker buster bombs. The White House, however, says President Trump is holding out hope for negotiations and will decide whether to launch U.S. strikes on Iran within 2 weeks. And now I'm joined by Richard Sindelar with Rice University. I mean, the fact that Trump just recently said that it is going to be 2 weeks, or his press secretary did, until he makes that decision. Do you think it'll come earlier than 2 weeks? And what do you think his decision would be?
He is famous for saying in another 2 weeks and all sorts. It seems to be his favorite time frame. I think partly it's to kick the can down the road because there's more decision making to be made. He could strike at any time. At the same time, I would not be surprised, because he often renews things, like he just renewed the TikTok extension. He could go for another 2 weeks and 2 weeks. So I think it's going to be hard to figure out when he's going to act. Some people are debating in the analytical community about the fact that maybe he's waiting to position another aircraft carrier, more resources and assets there, in case Iran strikes at us in retaliation for whatever we do. I think it's more he may be trying to play that negotiating game he talked about. His other folks are saying that there's another chance for negotiation, which I don't know how that's going to play out.
And when it comes to negotiations, do you think that there is any hope? Because it already seems like the leader of the Islamic Republic has said, no, we're not going to be interested in anything.
I have two theories on that. One would be that negotiations aren't going to go anywhere if that red line of we can't enrich at all is held to by both Israel and the United States. Basic enrichment for energy and medical research and things, that's any country should be allowed to do that. And I don't think Iran could give that up and still retain popular support. At the same time, I would not be surprised taking the pounding that, because of the pounding they're taking, that they might not agree. And of course, they've been well educated by Trump that after they agree and a year from now rebuild their various defense systems, their various energy systems, pull out of the treaty, just like we did. So it could be a play where you buy time for a year to rebuild your military infrastructure.
By everything that you've seen so far, what do you think may happen?
I think it's most likely that, based on what we're hearing, is Netanyahu said today, or his generals have said, that they're ready to go. And apparently Netanyahu is reconsidering an Israeli action. They don't have the ability to reach the centrifuges, but they have a lot of special operations abilities to shut down electricity, perhaps close entrances to the tunnels, as they did in Gaza. And there's been continued chatter in Israel about possible special forces actually putting boots on the ground, some sort of military force to invade Fort Al. That seems to be a stretch, very dangerous. Things could go very wrong, but I never put anything past the Israelis with all the various tricks that they pull.
Now, let's just say that Trump does say that we're going to launch U.S. strikes, or we hear about the U.S. strikes in Iran. What is that sort of going to set off as far as a timeline moving forward?
That's going to depend on how the Iranians choose to respond. The target list for them to respond in the Middle East is vast, and you don't need many missiles to hit our bases. You can use limpet mines to put on tankers. There was a tanker collision today in the Hormuz Straits. Apparently they're messing with the GPS so the tankers lose track of where they are and they run into each other. There are lots of these lower grade things that they might do out there, strike U.S. bases or do something else. I want to bring it home. What worries me is in the 1980s, when I was working counterintelligence at the State Department, we figured there were 300 hardcore Iranian operatives in the United States. The problem is the new warfare includes small units with drones for terror attacks, or if they didn't try that with the agents they have in the United States, they can pull an Israeli and strike here with a small group, perhaps the bombing of a federal building like happened in Oklahoma City. Or they are one of the top 10 cyber outfits, and they have periodically pinged the United States' various cyber systems, bankings, energy, and things to kind of test the system. They've got the cyber power to do significant damage cyber-wise to banking and energy structures, possibly energy here in the United States. And they only need a laptop in Cairo. They don't even need to be in Iran to do that. So my greatest fear as of today is what's happening here with the Department of Homeland Security That's their task, to protect the homeland from foreigners, and they have limited resources, as every government agency does, and they're busy chasing strawberry pickers in California. They should be concentrating on trying to counter all the possibilities for either terror or cyber that Iran can do here in the United States.
All right. Well, we always appreciate you coming in to break it down for us. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, we are going to bring you back to that breaking news story that we told you about, where we do know HPD saying that they have confirmed they're looking for an escaped suspect. We have our Abigail Dye, who is on her way to the scene. So, Abigail, I know that you have limited information, but whenever you're sent out to a scene like this, what are some of the things that you do in order to prepare and gather information?
Well, Rashi, right when we get this call from our assignment desk, we immediately start, scouring the internet and trying to get information. And so that's one of the things we were doing. And it seems like Houston police just tweeted out that they do have the suspect in custody at the 5500 block of Fulton. They say in downtown Central that K9 and Fox, which is their Eye in the Sky, assisted Metro Police in searching for this suspect, and that the suspect is now in custody, assisted by the University of Houston Downtown Police and Precinct 1 constables. So we do know that the suspect is in custody at this point, but it's still important for us to get feet on the ground and get out there to know exactly what happens from here, who this suspect is, how they escaped. There's always information out there on the scene and a story to be told that can be really important to the people, especially in such a busy area, downtown, central downtown at 7 p.m. on a Thursday can certainly be very busy. There could be a lot of people who saw or heard what happened who can give us more context to bring all of our viewers more accurate information. And I know we do have a photographer down there right now and who's sitting and setting up and waiting for police to come and give us an update and tell us what exactly happened and what's going to happen next.
All right, Abigail, yes, and I do know that according to HPD, like you also just said, they are looking for that escaped suspect, and like you said, it believed to have found the suspect. Now we're waiting for Metro and also the PIO there and Houston Police to be talking to us. So you guys are headed out there right now. Is there anything else that you found out?
At this point, no, but like I said, Rashi, this is why it's so important for us to get out there and get feet on the ground. Of course, you know, we were out on a different assignment, shooting interviews, editing, and writing to bring you all a story for our news tonight at 9 and 10. But when we get a call like this from our assignment desk, we have to put everything on hold and rush right to the scene to make sure we get there to get that timely information. And while we're doing that, we're searching the internet. I'm looking at replies to tweets, trying to find anything, anyone who might be involved. And it looks like my producer says he sent me some new information. I'm looking for that now, and I'm not seeing anything come through at this point. But like I said, we scour the internet, we message people, we ask anyone who may have seen anything, what's going on, and we try to gather information that way until we have feet on the ground. Rashi?
Definitely, and we're all looking here as well. So once you get to that location, I'm sure we'll find out some more information, as they have not released anything according to the police department when it comes to the people who are out there and making sure that everyone is safe and also providing us with any information. So hopefully we'll be getting some more information there. All right, over in Sugar Land, let's go there because the lives of at least 95 former convicts are now memorialized as a historical marker telling their story was dedicated this morning. And it was in conjunction with Juneteenth, which of course is today. Now here's more from that celebration and ceremony in Fort Bend County.
On behalf of the Sugar Land 95, Friends of the Sugar Land 95, we thank you for joining us for this historic occasion, which has been about 3 years in the making. Thank you to the Fort Bend and Texas Historical Commissions for engaging with the community to tell the untold story about convict leasing in Texas, and more specifically in Fort Bend County and Sugar Land. Thank you for engaging with the Friends of the Sugar Land 95 and making this dedication and unveiling possible. This is an occasion of mixed emotions for me, joy and sadness that the advocate, the first friend of the Sugar Land 95, the late Reginald Moore, is not here to witness this occasion, but God said something different. So here we are today to keep moving forward. As some of you may have heard my story of supporting my husband in the background, and now almost 5 years since his transition from July 3rd of 2020, I am leading the Friends of the Sugar Land 95, which I founded with some other community friends. It is a 501c3 nonprofit and the official community partner organization with Fort Bend ISD for the Sugar Land 95 Memorial Project. We made it official through an affiliate agreement signed on September 23rd, 2024 with the Fort Bend School District. This morning, we have some friends we like to call people who support us, friends. We have some friends who have taken the time from their busy schedules to join us for this momentous occasion. As I call your name or your organization, please wave your hand or stand so that we can acknowledge your presence, because presence is important. So here are the several people and groups of people that are present with us today. Will the Fort Bend ISD Board of Trustees, past and present, please stand.
All right, well, more and more people are trying to make some real coin from the coins, cards, and other treasures that they have at home, and it can help during these tough economic times. Well, consumer reporter Heather Sullivan shows us some of the surprising stuff people have been selling.
Maybe you have a coin in a drawer, something that you think might be valuable in your home. One way to find out and perhaps make some money is to bring it to a reputable dealer to find out what its value is. We're talking right now with someone who actually made some really interesting discoveries. We are joined by Clyde Brown. Thanks so much for being with us.
No worries.
So you actually have been a coin collector yourself for years.
Yes. I had a coworker, and he knew I collected coins. And he said, Clyde, I've got this coin that my father has had, and he gave it to me, and I want it checked out. I said, okay. So I brought it to Matt. It was a 1916 Standing Liberty quarter. And Matt said, wow, that's a cool date. That's the best date you can have. And it was valued at like $4,000.
And then you've got one more that you think might have some value too. Tell me about that.
And oddly enough, it's a 1921 peace dollar that came from the same friend of mine at work. His father had this, and so it wasn't worth as much as that. These maybe $100 or whatever.
Now we're with Matt Duncan with U.S. Coins and Jewelry. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So are you seeing more people kind of coming in with things that they're discovering they think might be valuable from their homes?
Yes, we run into that every day. You know, a lot of times when you're left coins or, you know, even if you're not a collector, you want to get an idea of what it's worth.
Can you give us an example of what some of these might be worth?
Yeah, so you have a 44.0. This is a $5 Liberty. This coin could be worth around $4,500.
And then another thing people will bring in quite often are baseball cards.
This is a Mickey Mantle, so this is different. You know, these cards can be in $500 to $1,000 range. In higher conditions, they can be worth a lot more.
And this is a $1,000 bill. Someone brought this in?
Yes, so someone brought that in. That's a 1934 $1,000 bill. This is certified by Paper Money Guarantee. So we had it certified after we bought it. But you know, it's brought just like this in a bag. And you know, items like this typically are in the $3,000 range.
All right, so check your drawers. Heather Sullivan, Fox News.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Spectrum of Parenting, where we talk about issues in the special needs community. My name's Faith, and I'm a producer here at Fox 26, and I'm also a special needs mom. And today we are talking about an issue that is very close to my heart. It's summer, so lots of families are heading to the pool or to the beach, but when you're the parent of an autistic child, heading to the pool or the beach can bring about some anxiety, and that's because drowning is the leading cause of death for both children and adults with autism. That's why when my son Noah got diagnosed with autism at age 3, my family and I enrolled him in swimming classes almost immediately to give us that peace of mind. And it's also given me hope that other special needs children can learn to swim too with the right teachers. So to tell us more about that, we have Kathleen McMorty joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Kathleen McMorty. I'm the owner of Texas Swim Academy in Katy. I'm a registered nurse and kind of come to swimming through kind of more of a public health perspective, you know, drowning prevention, but also having fun. And we are unique in that we do have a program for children on the autism spectrum.
Yeah, and you've been doing this for 22 years, you were telling me.
We are beginning our 22nd season.
That's amazing. Have you worked with autistic children for that long as well, or is that a more recent thing?
We have off and on more purposefully since around 2013. I took my first coursework in swimming with autism out in San Diego. There's a really phenomenal program out there.
Interesting.
And just really loved the methodology, which was very similar to what we were already teaching, which is infant swimming and survival swimming.
Yeah, you're saying 6 months old. Some kids are start that young.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen those videos of the babies, and they just float to the top. It's so interesting, and you might underestimate a baby and an autistic child with being able to learn to swim, but with the right teacher, they can. So, how vital do you think it is for children with autism to learn to swim?
Very critically vital for the flight, and just their risks are greater. Yeah. Often the communication is a barrier. Knowing the safety parameters may be a barrier. So just knowing what to do in the water. They often are drawn to the water as well, just because if you think about it, that vision is a little softer, the noise is a little softer, there's that hydrostatic pressure on the skin. It's just a very sensory calming experience for a lot of children.
Yeah, absolutely. We've covered, sadly, stories like that on the news where autistic children, they tend to elope, get out of the house when the parents are distracted, and they wander toward bodies of water. It's just happened so often. So I'm really hopeful that a segment like this can help parents understand, more about, see, look, all these kids learning to swim. It's beautiful. So at the Academy, you have a special swimming program for children with autism. So tell me how this differs from a traditional swimming class.
In our arena, it's somewhat similar in that we do all of our beginners in a private lesson. And I think that's really the key, is you don't want to just stick the child in a group and they get what they get. We need to tailor the learning toward the child. Do we need to use a social story? Do we need to use picture cards? What do we need to do different? And just having that one-to-one experience, they feel a little bit safer. Our facility is even designed for the young child and a child that's a little bit more nervous, in that we have 5 smaller pools that kind of mimic more the backyard setting, that much more intimate.
Sure.
And it's just not quite as vast as our large pool. And I think that really helps in a calming way.
Yeah, definitely. Kids on the spectrum can often get overstimulated. So I think having that private time, as opposed to being in a class full of screaming, splashing kids, that could definitely help them calm and focus.
All right, now we are going to that breaking news story we talked to you about, where they're looking for a suspect. Now police are giving an update. Let's listen in.
One of my line field commanders, and also Lieutenant Crowson with HPD Night Command. So the scene is slightly complex. I'm going to start with this morning, where we took a person of interest in custody, and of course follow on with an escapee, right? So what we have is, it started with this morning at approximately 5:30 a.m. this morning. HPD was dispatched to a shooting call where a female was shot. HPD responded, and subsequently the female was transported to the hospital, and they find a person of interest, which is believed to be the suspect, conducted the shooting at the time. After a search with the K-9 help, they were able to apprehend the suspect, a person of interest at the time. That person was determined to be a juvenile male, 16 years of age. Because of the sustained dog bite, that juvenile was transported to the hospital to receive treatment. And subsequently, after he was released from the hospital, we were able to coordinate with the parents to bring him back to our station so we can conduct an interview. As you know, we brought him back to the interview room, and at approximately 7:30 p.m., roughly 12 hours after the shooting, he was able to escape our custody. And that initiated a search, including the collaboration between us and HPD. And he was taken into custody at approximately, I believe, like 6:50 p.m. And down the road at 5500 block of Fulton. To put in perspective, it's up in the north side of town. And the shooting took place this morning at around Cross Timber and the airline. The female that was shot, she just got out of surgery. She is currently stable right now, but still in critical condition. She is in her mid-40s. What are your questions?
You said that he escaped an interview. Where did he escape from exactly? Was he inside of some sort of interview room, or how did he get away from it?
Yeah, so that's going to be part of an investigation, right? The reality is he was in our custody. We brought him back to interview, and he was able to escape because, due to the sensitive nature of the escape, suspect, it's going to be part of an investigation. There'll be more to follow.
Did you say that he escaped around 7:30 a.m.?
7:30 p.m. The original incident occurred at 7:30 a.m. this morning.
And what time did he escape?
Say again?
What time did he escape?
7:30 right now.
Roughly.
All right, we are
I'm
here
sorry.
in North Houston where we were listening to police officers about how they're talking about what just happened in terms of a very complicated situation, but it seems to be now under control. Again, North Houston, where they were looking for a suspect. Now, something else that we're following for you is over at Reedy Chapel, where we do understand that former President Joe Biden is expected to appear, and we understand he is there and is going to possibly be speaking as well. Let's listen in.
Hey, what's going on, Scroll Club? It is your girls, Jen, and I'm Vee Greasy. And y'all know we are the Scrollers under the Scroll Queens. We got our bevies ready on tonight. Let's cheers it up, friends.
It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be. You ready to sip?
Good soon.
All right, so we have a new segment for you guys, and y'all love when we have those new segments. Now, don't ya? What do we have from Jen? Let me see that dong.
The dong.
Hey, so y'all remember back in the day, so all my millennials and below, do y'all remember Cisco had that hit, that thong, the thong, thong, thong?